Hello, and welcome to Marketing Matters, the show where we explore all things marketing and uncover those things that matter to you and your success. I'm your host, Denise Millay, and my hope and mission is to bring marketing and technology to you in a way that's useful, without jargon, complexity, or confusion, so that you can grow your business, expand your impact in the world, and build your best life. Today's episode is called Keeping Track. Before we dive in, though, I want to share a quote from Mickey Drexler. He's a giant in the retail fashion industry, formerly associated with building and revitalizing some of the biggest brands, including J. Crew, The Gap, Old Navy, Apple. People like consistency, he says. Whether it's a store or a restaurant, they want to come in and see what you're famous for. So I wanted to share this quote with you today because we want to put our best foot forward in everything we do, right? That's a given. And to do so, we need to make sure that the picture we present to the world is cohesive and consistent, so that when our potential customers or clients encounter us somewhere online, they get the same message and they aren't left with doubts or confusion or questions. So we're going to ask the question, is social media serving you? And what I mean by that is every platform that you have a presence on, it is there to support you, but are you treating it as a support system for you? Because of the distributed nature of the internet and the online world, and the fact that we try to find out where our customers and clients are, we try to target them from our perspective outward, but we're really not sure where they're coming in to us from, where their first touch, what the touch point might be, right? So we want to make sure that when they do make that touch, that they get the answer to their question, or they get an opportunity to find out more about their question, and that they don't leave with a negative impact in any way. We want to use all these platforms to support us to the full potential that they can. And one of the ways to do that is to be consistent across all the platforms and your website, of course. So anyone looking for more details about you can get answer to their questions, right? So we all know we're scrolling on our phones. I search sometimes in Google, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I use DuckDuckGo. Sometimes I'll just go to a website that I know, or a news site, and from there it'll take me somewhere else, and then I'll land somewhere else and I'll say, hey, that person's interesting. And then I might find their Wikipedia page, or I might find their website. It's distributed all over and you really can't pinpoint it all the time. So you just want to be prepared, right? So in a previous episode, we talked about figuring out who you are and what messages you share with the public. Here is where we make those messages work for us. We refine them to suit the needs of our audience. And by meeting their needs, I mean, where are they in their buying journey or their journey with us when they encounter you, right? So there are 4 stages to a buying journey or a sales cycle, or whatever you want to call the marketing journey. The phases are research, compare, act or buy, and then support. So if you think about yourself and say that you wanted to go out and buy a new car, right? You don't just walk out to the dealer and start negotiating a deal and doing test drives, right? You go onto the internet first, or you go to the site for the cars and you research it, you read about it, you hear and you find out from your friends and other people what they think and what you feel about it, right? So that's the research phase. And then you get to a place where you're like, wow, is this really the best car for me? Or should I look at something else? Because this one's a little bit high. Maybe I can get the same thing for a little bit less, and maybe they have a better deal on financing, right? So then you're in the compare stage where you want to find out more detailed information about things to really make a comparison so that you can get ready and make a decision, right? And then there's the act and buy phase where you're actually ready to pull the trigger and you want to make a decision to buy or engage or download or move forward, right? You're about to, with the car metaphor, you're about to go to the dealer and schedule a test drive and start to sit down and negotiate with someone, right? Well, if someone encounters you on your website and they're ready to buy or they're ready to encounter you, is all the right information and all the right processes there to make that happen and make it happen such that they are confident in you and they feel like they've made the best decision. Okay? So you're supporting the buying activity or the action activity, right? Then there's the support phase. Someone is a current customer. They've already purchased from you. They've already encountered you in a class or a webinar or a course, and or they've coached with you, and they want to find out more about the upcoming things, or they have a question about a program that they had an issue with and that something didn't work. Do you have the facility for them to contact you with their concerns or their questions or their queries? So that's the four phases that your prospects go through in different ways online. And so your materials need to support all four of those phases, your processes and materials. So the social media platforms, given that you have an account with each and you have a profile with each, have many places where you can provide information to answer some of these questions. Now, your website ends up being your biggest action buy place, right? Or your funnels. But all the other stuff, comparison, research, support, all that information can be tied into other places on social media and repeated so that wherever the person lands, they can get an answer to their question. You lower frustration, you increase trust and expertise, right? Which is what we want. We want everything to support us as we go across the online world. Lord knows there's plenty of other things to get in our way. We don't want to get in our own way with not providing the information that's required, right? So let's think about what we can do to support that, okay? So it's not only the text and the words, but it's also the images. The images are worth 1,000 words, right? So let's say someone gets to your Facebook page and your picture's there and it's great, but there's no other photos. It's the basic stock photo and the header. The posts don't have any really interesting graphics. They're kind of grainy and fuzzy. Are they going to feel confident working with you? No. Flat out no. Okay? In this world, everybody's expecting crisp, clean, real, like, yes, stock photos work. You don't have to take them all yourself anymore, right? But there's so many tools out there that can create graphics and photos and incorporate them for posting and advertising and covers and all these things. The expectations of our users have risen, and it's no longer acceptable to have graphics from the 1990s that don't have any depth, that don't have any shading, that are just flat. It really just doesn't work. And so it reflects badly on you and it reflects badly on your business. So you really want to do your best to take examples from other people, successful people, and see some of the things, the way they treat their images and the images they're sharing. If you're not sure which ones, what to do, you can also use products like Canva.com. They have templates that are already graphically designed. So you don't really need to adjust the graphics at all. You can change the coloring and the background coloring and elements, etc., but you don't really need to start from scratch. And they come out looking incredibly professional. crisp and clear. Okay. And if you still are having difficulty with a tool like that, then I truly recommend you go to YouTube and look for some tutorials on Canva to help you feel better about what you're producing so that you can manipulate images and get them to work for you when you're online, because it really does make a difference. Okay. Then the next part to consider is recording the details somewhere so that you could take advantage of them, right? Now, we talked about writing down your messages in the previous episode and writing your story and, description of your business, description of your products and your services, and things like an elevator pitch so that you could speak to someone quickly and succinctly and sum up what you do so that they have that confidence in you when they hear your message. Well, it's the same thing with the online world. You want to record what you do, what you put in each one of these places, and you want to keep track of it so that you can be consistent and share all the same things in the same ways and all the messages. And then you can just cut and paste it and put it where it belongs and not have the worry that, oh, I didn't update LinkedIn. Oh, my Twitter profile's out of date, right? So if you start to keep a profile or an organized way to keep this information and you record the last time you update it and then you keep track of when you do it, you will feel much more confident with what you have out there. And I know it seems arduous, but it's not really. Once you do it once, it's easy to tweak it. Um, and I'll show you in a minute what the organizer that I use looks like. What I think we want to also understand is, as a business owner, an entrepreneur, coach, or consultant, you start in one place in your marketing and in your journey, and you're trying to figure out what your ideal customer or prospect wants and what their issues are that you can address and serve them. And sometimes you begin with one thought, and that you create all your profiles to support that. And then it changes because you don't get the response that you think you were going to get, and it's not working for some reason. Well, then you'll come with another opportunity or another idea or another thought process, a different angle. Well, you need to keep everything that you have online in line with what you're actually doing currently, right? And that could be a heavy lift if you don't have an organized way to keep track of what's out there now, what you're doing now versus what you want it to be. And it's not something that you can delegate to a VA very easily, or any other kind of person. It's something that you personally have to keep track of as long as you're an entrepreneur. You really have to keep that image going. Um, there are some people out there that are larger than life, that have been in the business for 20 or 30 years, and they are going to get the benefit of the doubt when someone encounters something that's stale or dated online because they've been out there for a long time. For us, we're trying to get people to know us, like us, and trust us. And the unfortunate truth is, every time that they encounter something that's inaccurate or is less than helpful, that takes us back a notch, right? And then we have to work even harder to get them to know us and like us and trust us, because that's just an integral part of people being comfortable working with you and finding you online and engaging with your business, right? You're an unknown, and the way that they're going to find out about you, just like that new car that they think they want, they're going to do research. They're going to compare what they've seen for other people to you. They're going to compare and look at your services, your programs, and everything that's out there about you. And of course, you can't go back and change posts from the past, and you can't, you're not saying you have to hide things or change anything, but as your business evolves and morphs into one thing or another, you're going to find that you have to tweak this information. And I know that I struggle with it, and I'm sure every other business owner who works online has the same problem. So what I want to do today is help you with that problem. I want to help you understand that it doesn't have to be a heavy lift. It can be something that you can look at once a month or once a quarter and make sure it's okay. Mark up the changes, and then you can get somebody to change it for you if you hire somebody, or you can do it yourself in a couple of hours and it'll be done. So let me show you the organizer that I use for my business. you'll see that I have a last update date right here, and this is just basic profile information that you're going to repeat in places over and over again, right? Your address, your name, your date of birth, personal email, your business email, your personal phone, your business phone, if you have a fax number, your website URL. Your LinkedIn URL is this string / whatever your username is when you create your profile. And I don't know about you, but I created my profile a long time ago, and I'm sure I don't remember it. And every time I have to give somebody my LinkedIn link, I pause, and I hope it's my name, because I hope I didn't put my middle initial in there or whatever. So if you write it here, then you don't have to worry about it. And as I said here, it's in your info and your contact info and your LinkedIn profile page. Now, here I have you put your Twitter handle and your Twitter user ID that I'm sure you gave yourself when you created your Twitter account. What's your Facebook username? Is it your email? They've changed. They allow different things now. So, and your Facebook URL, believe it or not, you could actually send someone directly to your Facebook page if you wanted to by using this https://facebook.com/ whatever your username is. Did you know that? Anyway. All right, profile photo. It is really helpful to know where you put these things on your computer. I forever used the same photo everywhere, and it worked really well for me until I got really tired of seeing that one. and, and then I had a second one, and I was like, oh, where have I changed it? Where have I used it? Where haven't I used it? So what I do is I keep a copy of the current one if I cut and paste it here so I know which one it is and then where it is on my computer. It's been very helpful. So now what you're going to find in this document is then what I went through each of the main social media platforms that I've used and add in some of those things that are unique to them or that I can duplicate and use in different places. So the schools you attended, the city you currently live in, the hometown, your workplaces. In your basic Facebook profile, if you have a business page, I recommend that you leave a lot of the personal information, the optional information, blank on your profile. The schools you went to, the workplaces and towns you lived in, they can help with business searches, so I included those above. But the other things, you don't really need to put out there unless you're trying to handle your family and personal with your business online in the same Facebook account. And I'm not sure that that's an easy thing to do. I personally separate everything and I just have all of business on Facebook for me. And I have a few family members that I'm connected to, but I don't interact with them and share with them a lot. I just kind of look at pictures of my nieces and nephews and things like that. And I talk offline with them because it's just too hard. And I like to separate politics and everything else from it. So I really try to stay professional on Facebook. But that's me, and that's what works for me. So now, if you have a Facebook business page, you can have a description up to 255 characters to describe your business, your product, or your service. So we talked about having a description for those things. So you could formulate something that's 255 characters. They also allow you to add up to 10,000 characters in this additional information field. You could basically take your whole about page or your whole services page and just drop it right in here, because if somebody really wants to find background information on what you do, giving them a one-stop shop place to find it in additional information in your profile is really great, right? The other thing that, and then you can, when you put it here in this profile organizer, you can cut and paste pieces of it to use in other places on other profiles easily by having it all there. So now categories on a Facebook business page, those are things that people might search for you on. Coach, trainer, writer, that kind of thing. So you get to choose 2 or 3, I believe. Business hours, location, phone number, optional. Impressum is something that you need when you do advertising. It's the registered information for your business, okay? And so you want to fill this information in here and keep it here, because some websites, when you do advertising, are going to require this of you so that someone can actually see when you're selling something that you are a real business and you're not some scam or whatever. So it's very important that you have that, and in Europe it's even more important. So you want to make sure you have whatever registration information you need at your fingertips at the time. So look at the privacy settings and things you have to do for the country of origin you're in, and make sure you have it here in a succinct place. So it's the registered address of your business, the email address that you registered your business under, and the name of your business owner and the name of the business, okay? And then whatever else your country requires. Privacy policy is becoming more and more important, as you know, by the recent change in Apple's advertising and privacy settings. So on your website or here in text form yourself, you have to say what your privacy policy is, that you will protect the information, that anyone who accesses the website is assured of privacy, okay? And you won't share any sensitive information. There are other restrictions in other countries of things you have to do to validate people that you market to, and I would recommend that you do search online and you find the particulars for your country and you drop these details right in here. So if you ever get to a situation where you need a privacy policy, you either have it on a web page on your web, or you have a document to support it that you've stored somewhere, and you have the details all here. It'll help you in the long run. Your Facebook business page can have a cover photo and description. So what I do on my Facebook business page is describe my current offer. So the photo that I use in the advertising for that offer, and then there's a description on the photo. When you edit the photo, there's a description comes up and you have like 500 characters where you can describe your current offer, and you can also put a link to your website. So if someone comes to the cover of your page and they see you have an offer, like a free gift to give away, and they were to click on the photo, it's going to show them the description that has succinctly all the information. And that's very, very convenient. I have one suggestion. When you have a business page, you can pin to the top of the page your most recent post or your most recent offer, your most recent video, whatever it is. So if you go to a post, and you'll see this when you go on the page, there's 3 dots up in the upper right hand corner of every post that you create. If you click on that, there's an option to pin to top of page. And what this does is, if you post a lot, things change things, and if people answer you and what comes up in the feed flip-flops and moves around, well, you can pin something to always stay at the top, to be the first thing that people see when they start to scroll on your page. It's very convenient. Okay, so let's move on to Instagram. Instagram is owned by Facebook, but you do have a profile there. So if you're working in Instagram and you have an account and you're trying to cultivate it, or even if you're not, you just have the profile and you're not really working in it actively, you should keep the bio and the profile up to date based on what's on your business page, right? So fill the name, username, website URL, and the bio is up to 150 characters. So you could just take something that's on Facebook and shorten it a little bit and drop it right in here. And again, with your email and your phone number, it's good to know what you actually put on all these sites. So now the next big one is LinkedIn, right? The headline underneath your name, if you sign into LinkedIn, that right below the headline, you can put up to 220 characters there. And it doesn't have to be the job you're looking for. This site doesn't have to be your job. We've talked about in previous episodes. So you can put a significant amount of things that you do in there, and then people see it right away when they come to your page, and it gives them confidence that they're in the right place, right? Then when they go to your About section, 2,600 characters to give more detail about you and your business. Now, it's not as much as Facebook's 10,000, but it's still pretty significant. You could get a good couple of paragraphs in there that have some really good information to help people out. Okay, so I have some other tips in here in the experience section. I won't go through that again because we've kind of done that on a different show, but Services page. 10 keywords to describe your services, and people can search for these. So when they do searches on LinkedIn, you're going to be part of those searches. You also have an about section on the services portion of your profile. So you can have a 500 character description of you and your history and your services. Again, another opportunity to repeat uh, important information to build up confidence in you. Now, the business page, you can have your business name up to 100 characters. You can also have a tagline underneath it, 120 characters. It could be serving entrepreneurs, whatever, something short and sweet that tells them a little bit more about the business, because your face and your name isn't there, right? So you get the business, what it is. And then you can also have a description of 2,000 characters on the business page itself. So you have multiple opportunities to really give some in-depth information for people. And trust me, people read it. They do. If they're really, really looking for information, they're going to look at it. So make sure you keep it up to date. The other thing that's important is you can have a website URL and a logo image on your business page. If you don't have a logo yet, um, and or it changes, it's good to have a copy of that logo in this document. So make sure you put the path of where your current logo is. I lose mine all the time. And don't feel like you can't go to Canva and change it. Okay, so once you have a logo, yes, it should be consistent across everywhere. But if you don't like it, feel free to evolve with it. Go to Canva. They have some wonderful suggestions on different fonts and different colors, and they really look super professional. So play with it a bit, but put it in here because it'll help you in the future. Up to 20 specialties can be recorded on a business page. And again, they're searchable. So if people are searching those keywords, they're like keywords. So people will find you better. That's all I have really about LinkedIn. So what this means to me and what I'm trying to impress upon you is that if you prepare ahead of time, you can cut and paste all these things in different places and shorten the amount of time it takes to maintain these things for your business, right? That is really helpful because we all get caught up in the minutia of things, and it takes so much longer than you want it to. So if you're more efficient about keeping track of the information, the extra time you take to put it into the document and make sure you remember where it is on your desktop, which I don't always do, it will help you. If you put that little bit of effort up front, it's going to make a big difference. Okay, so this week I have a free gift for you today. It's a guide to containing info for 5 free online tools that will help change your business. They're all available online. They're free, no cost, and they're not affiliates for me or anything. They're intended to save time and energy, and so you can get things done more quickly. So you can get those at https mmediagroupllc.com/free-gift. I'll give you a minute to make a note of the address or to take a screenshot for later, and I'll tell you a little bit about my business. So I work with folks to get their marketing technology set up and help automate their activities. So funnels and social media posts and websites and getting their courses online and ready to go, and payment processors and linking all that together. That's what I do. That's my sweet spot. If you'd like more information about my services, please go to my website at mmediagroupllc.com, or and through the contact page there you can reach out, or through the email on the website, which is support@mmediagroupllc.com. And if you have any questions, please reach out. I'm happy to make things more clear for you. So I also today, because of this episode of Keeping Track, I'm sharing with you the online profile organizer document that we just referenced. So it can get you started on keeping your things in sync. And so when you sign up for the 5 free online tools, free gift, you will also in the email get a link to the online profile organizer. I'm doing this just for Win-Win Women. as a gift because I think it can help you all and make things so much easier. So thank you so much. I'm so glad you could join me for Marketing Matters. I know how precious your time is, and my hope is you came away with one or two nuggets that you can apply to your business. My aim is to provide clear, useful info for you so that you can have a thriving business, amazing relationships with your customers and